Today, welcome on Introduction to Project and Program Management. There are three terms that we are going to talk about: a project, a program, and then those two terms with the word management added to it. So, when we talk about a project, we are talking of an activity, an endeavor that we undertake, okay? We undertake to create a unique product, service, or result. Let's get it well. There is the term temporary, meaning it has got a definite start and a definite end. The period, it is temporary, it is not permanent. And the main aim is to create a unique product, service, or result. Okay? So there is something we want to fill, a gap that is to be filled by having the project in place. There is a product that you are aiming at. Like we can talk about the manufacturing industries of vehicles, okay? You find every time they come up with a unique make of a vehicle that meets or suits the need of different clients, and that makes it a project. But the assembling of the various parts each and every day, they are putting those parts together, then those are operations. So it means there are what we call operations, things we do on a routine basis, and there is the project which we are aiming to have a unique product. So when we have project, it is done with a coordinated, unique, or what we call non-repetitive activities undertaken to create the product or the unique service that we've talked about. Okay? And as we do this, there is somebody we are targeting, the beneficiary, the client, the customer. There is somebody who should benefit. And as we do this, we work within the constraints of time, or what we call schedule. We work on the constraint of what we call cost or budget, and we talk about the scope. So most of the books maybe you come across, you will find the triple constraints. That is the schedule, the budget, and the scope. However, currently there has been an update, and we are including quality as the fourth constraint. And therefore, we have quadruple constraints and not triple constraints. So the constraints are also what are referred to as the performance parameters. They are also called the performance parameters. How? Remember, you the quality as a constraint which has been introduced. If you want to get a quality product, high quality product, then it means you will either have to take much time to improve the quality, or you are going to increase the cost of production because you want to meet the demands. So quality comes from your targeted beneficiaries or your clients or your customers. They are the people who determine the quality, not you as the owner of the project, but the people who consume your products or your services. are the determinants of quality. So when they consider your product of high quality, then it means you are meeting their expectations. So if you don't meet their expectations, if they are not satisfied with your product, then it means you have poor quality. And quality is affecting the other three constraints. I hope we get that clear. That quality affects the other three constraints. So it affects the time, it affects the cost, and it affects the scope. So the temporary nature of projects, as I said earlier, indicates a definite beginning and end. So end is reached when the project's objectives have been achieved. Remember, we are saying there is a time we are going to end our project, and this time will be when we have achieved the objectives. What did we want to achieve? What was our aim? So once we have achieved, then we can end. Or we can end when the objectives can never be achieved. You've tried by all means, but you are not achieving the objectives. Or if it was a project that you are conducting for a client, then the client says, now it has to come to the end. They end. For example, building or construction projects, the client may be okay at whatever level maybe you've achieved and says, now we have to bring the project to an end. So that's why we are saying the project can be ended when the objectives have been achieved or when the project is terminated because the objectives will not and cannot be met, or the need of this project is no longer there. There is no need. So those are three main situations that can lead to ending of a project. Okay? So the coverage of a project may be a small part of a country, a district, such as or a county, and the scope may be also limited to a single sector or subsector. And this is what will also bring the difference between a project and a program, as we will define what a program is. So, a project normally has a small number of activities and is time limited. Most of the time, projects take between 3 to 5 years. And then, when the achievement of the objectives will determine the end of the project. So, once the objectives have been achieved, then the end of the project is also reached. However, there are projects which normally take long, especially the projects concerned with health, normally do not close but continue or they are renewed. Why is this so? You find health is quite dynamic. You may talk about handling a given health problem. Let's say, for example, the HIV, tuberculosis. So, as you think you are going to reach the end of achieving your objective or your aim, then maybe new strains of this disease appear and then makes you have to come up with other strategies to end the health problem. So all projects, uh, however, must have an overall goal. and a set of objectives. And because of this, if you have the overall goal and set of objectives, you will have specific activities that are tailor made to achieve each objective, each set objective. For example, if your aim is to reduce new infections of health problem, so you must have objectives, you must have objectives, you must have objectives that will be leading to identification of cases, controlling spread of the disease, so that you will be able to achieve the main objective of controlling or reducing the number of cases or reduction in mortality and morbidity. Okay? And also, in order to know whether the project is meeting the objectives or it is fulfilling its functions, it is very critical to have a mechanism for monitoring and evaluation. It is very critical to have a mechanism of monitoring or tracking the progress of your project and making proper controls in place. Okay? So, from our definition that we've talked about and we've said that